Right, peace, 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 family. This is Ayapo from the HDIC. That is the head Draco-maniac in charge. And yeah, this is Ayapo. Ayapo Yapa. Ayapo Yapa is, of course, an acronym that stands for if you aren't pissed off, you aren't paying attention. I don't know if anyone's in the room. I'll give it a few more minutes. I can't see anything, so I'm going to have to take a look over here and see if anybody's even here. So this will take me just a minute. And if nobody's here, I'll give it a minute for somebody to get here. And if nobody gets here, then I guess I'll just be sitting here and talking to myself. I wish I could get some feedback because I don't know how well this is being heard, but it doesn't matter. Just be just a second. I'm going to close this door. All right. I don't have a big fancy quiet studio, as you all know, and I do my work mostly at this desk, and it's right by a window. I like to say window instead of window. And it's right by a window, so you'll hear traffic and you might hear people talking or whatever. I'm just hoping that my voice is coming through all right, and it looks like it is just by what this is doing right here. So okay, so I'm gonna sit here for a minute and see if anybody comes into the room. I'll give it just a few minutes, and if nobody comes in, then I'll just go on and start, and possibly someone can catch this on the replay. So this will be just a few minutes, and I'm going to mute my mic. Oh, okay, but can you hear me all right? Because I know you can hear me because you're in the next room, but I don't know if you can hear me through the mic. It looks like there's a little bit of a delay. Okay, good deal. Well, I'm gonna go on and start. Um, the reason I'm on here now, as everyone probably knows and can see, I don't come up on YouTube often, uh, especially when it comes to doing a live stream. Well, actually, I've been doing live stream more often than um, pre-recorded, but I very seldom will do a live stream. But I I gotta like get something off my chest because it's kind of bothering me, and that is that I've been seeing. It's like every place I turn, no matter where I go on social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, whatever, YouTube, it's freak Nick, freak Nick, freak Nick, freak, and it's it's distressing to me to see the thing, all this stuff about freak Nick. Not because I might think I'm going to see myself in it. That's got zero to do with it. I don't even know how old I was or where I was when that was going on. Peace to you, Cap. I see you in there. Thanks for dropping in. I'm gonna have to give you. I'm gonna have to give you a call. Peace, Golden Black. When I see you too. Thank you for coming in. We're doing very well, and I hope you're doing well. I saw your last video. I just didn't comment, but every time you put something up, I'm looking. So anyway, thank you for coming in. But yeah, all this stuff about Freaknik, and I'm of the mind that for our people, there's always going to be some kind of a distraction to distract us from from real issues that we face, real problems that we face. And whether, whether it's Harry Blackstone Jr., Chris Angel, Penn and Teller, David Copperfield, no matter what magician or illusionist you ever talk to or listen to interview, they will tell you straight up that everything about the act of illusions is diversion and distraction. Everything. That's the foundation of it. Without distraction, then you can't accomplish the trick. You can't accomplish the illusion without distraction. And a lot of what is happening to us now um, is covered up by distraction, and they do it on purpose. It's very obvious that it's done on purpose, so that we just are not paying attention to what's really happening. So I want to start off and say this about Freaknik. Now I don't have Hulu, but even if I did, I probably wouldn't watch it. And I just told Angela this morning, I've been hearing so much about it that my interest is actually peaked. But even with that, I'm still not going to watch it. Not only because I don't have Hulu, because I guarantee you there's a lot of folk that are getting like a free week, taking like a free week, 1 week offer or whatever, so just so that they can have it, so that they can watch that. But my thing is that as I looked it up, Hulu is owned by Disney, and we all know that Disney is no friend of black folk. And so I don't have Disney. I don't have Disney Plus, and they and like I said, they're no friend of black folk, and they're always doing. They figured out this scam by which, whether it's with something like Black Panther or Wakanda Forever, or just different properties that they have, they figured out this scam by which they can like nonstop insult our people and have us pay them to insult us. Now we're not looking at it like that. We're not thinking about it like that, but we're giving them money that we could be putting into our own communities, or and putting into our the health and the safety of our own families, and using it to hand over to people who have it in for us and hate us. And that's a neat trick. So I look at how I used to be bothered by how about our people being distracted. Now it's gotten to the point for me where it doesn't bother me as much that we get distracted as it does how easy it is to do it. It's it's almost comical how easily distracted we are as a people, and I won't even say it's our fault. A lot of it has to do with conditioning, but however we got here, here we are, and yesterday, yesterday I watched Sister Ajali did a video. She actually did a live stream, and she originally took it offline, and I was sorry that I missed it. But she originally had it, made it private, and then she made it public again. And I saw I saw why, because she was freaking going off, but she was going off because I could hear the frustration in her voice. Because if I'm to be honest, I deal with that same kind of frustration. I think that every pro-black person, every black person who is truly for our people. I'm not talking about any BS. People who are truly for our people all deal with this same frustration when it comes to our people. And Cap said, I understand their agenda about bringing up this Freaknik stuff. They're not slick. You nailed it, man. And it's so, at least to me, it's so obvious, and to a lot of other people, it's just so obvious, you know. But going back to what I was saying, because I'm about to lose my train of thought. But when it comes to there's something that I have always I won't say I've always wondered about, but of late I've really been paying real close attention to it, and it's the fact that I'm mystified by the fact. Now it sounds like I'm all over the place, but it all pertains to the same thing. I'm mystified, and I apologize again for all the noise in the back. I'm at a window and there's traffic going by, so I'm mystified by the fact that if you're a charlatan, if you're a fraud, if you're a hustler, if you're somebody who means our people zero good, and I'm talking about as a black person, it means our people zero good. Our people seem to flock to them and can't throw money at them fast enough. And there's a bunch of us, there's a bunch of them out there. But then when you have someone who's who is about who's about it, who's about you, who's about helping our people, who honestly loves our people and wants nothing but the best for our people, getting them to listen is like pulling freaking teeth. Peace to you, Mr. Pirate Brain. I see you there. I've been good, and I hope you've been well also. Love, honor, and respect. And that's the thing. I look at it kind of in terms of one-on-one relationships. Whether it's a man or a woman, there can be like some man or woman who just okay, say it's a man, and then there's some woman who just all they want to do is be there for that man, be the best that they can be for him, really cares about them. That man don't want nothing to do with her, wants nothing to do with her. And same thing with some women. This man just love you, would do anything for you. Excuse that noise. Would do anything for you, and don't want anything to do with them. But then here comes some silver-tongued devil, man or woman, and they mean you absolutely no good whatsoever. All they care about is what they can get out of you, whether it's sex, money, status, whatever. And that's who you want. That's who you want. Now, taking it outside the realm of just a one-on-one relationship, I just have to be honest. That's about how I see our people right now. I love our people, but I'm also a realist. I'm not, I have eyes and I can see. That's how I perceive our people right now. Not because we're dumb and ignorant and all this crazy stuff, but there's something wrong. There's something sideways about this whole thing where we're just so easily taken in by people who don't care about us, and the ones who really do care about us. Everything we try to do is an uphill climb. And I I can't, I have a hard time reconciling it and figuring it out. Golden Black One, it's difficult to give energy and not receive matched energy back for those it's intended for. I'll be honest, radiation is a hard topic because it can make you rethink uh, life. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly what you're talking about because when I first heard this was like 5 years ago when I first started hearing Sister Anjali talk about radiation and that, I was like, who's this crazy lady? And I'm serious, I was just like, who's this crazy lady? And me being the way that I am, I started researching it for myself. I don't take anybody's word for jack. I have to see, I have to know. There's something I could tell you about right now that's like has been going on in the news that I have like a little different view of, and but I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get raked over the coals. But my whole thing about it is I don't understand what's going on, so I can't really speak to it. Whereas there's so many people that have like knee jerk reactions to stuff and base things just upon what they see. But I'm like, I don't know everything that's going on. I have to research. I have to know. I have to understand what I'm talking about because I live on the premise that if your foundational premise is erroneous, then everything that comes from that premise is going to be equally erroneous, if not more so. That's what I'm going to say it again. That's what I live on is if your foundational premise is in error, then everything that comes from that premise is going to be equally in error or more so. And so I am very, very meticulous. Angela sometimes thinks I overthink things, but it's because I want my foundational premise to be correct before I approach anything and make up my mind about anything. And then even then it's still subject to change if I get newer or better information. But I have to know. I have to research myself. So when I started researching radiation, when I started researching Fukushima, I was like, wait a minute, this is a freaking mess. And I was a seafood fiend. This was again 5 years ago. I'm a vegetarian now. I haven't gone vegan yet. I may never, but I definitely vegetarian. And I was when I was going vegetarian. Thank you, Mr. Pirate Brain. When when I was going vegetarian, it was a process just like everything else is. But after I researched what I did about radiation and what was happening in the Pacific, um, I stopped eating seafood. And I was a seafood fiend on my birthdays, on Father's Day, anything that was supposed to be my day. My family always took me to Red Lobster, period. Or my wife at that time would make a seafood dinner always because if it came out the freaking water, I wanted to eat. I don't care if it was a freaking tire. If it came out the water, I wanted to eat it. You know, that's how much of a seafood fiend I was. I found out about that freaking radiation and I stopped right there. I stopped because I did the research and I was like, yeah, there's something to this and it's a mess. This is a hot mess. And so that was the first, that was my first step on that road. And then I slowly started working myself up the food chain or down the food chain, is depending on how you look at it. and just got all the meat out of my diet. But yeah, and that came from studying. It wasn't just because I heard Al-Jalil one or two times, and I was like, oh well, she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. No, I started researching. Now, I say that I say this to the point of cliche, but it's just true. She's forgotten more. She has forgotten more about radiation than I'll probably ever know. I didn't study to the degree that she has. I haven't researched to the degree that she has. But I say it like this. It, many of us out here are very good drivers, freaking expert drivers. I guarantee you, you can stop a bunch of people who are some of the best drivers in the city, and they cannot tell you how a car works. They can't tell you how that engine works. See, well, you see what I'm getting. You don't have to know like every nut and bolt of everything to know what you're doing or to know what it is. And all you need to know enough about a car is enough to be able to get in it, turn that key, drive it, put it in gears. If it's a 5 speed, which I usually would drive, know how to do that or whatever. But I don't have to know like every single inner working, every single spring, every piston and spark plug and everything in the car to be able to drive it. So I don't need to know the atomic weight of tritium or the atomic number of plutonium or uranium 238 or anything. I don't need to know all that. All I need to know is that Fukushima happened, that is spewing this radiation into the air, water, and ground, and has been for over a decade, and that peace, Dawn. Thanks so much for showing up. Peace. It's always good seeing you. And all I'm trying to say is I didn't need to study it to that degree to know that I needed to get away from the seafood. I'm glad I never got into the sea moss and the seaweed and that. But even when it goes starts working up the food chain and stuff, it's just very important, a very important thing for our family. So when I see everybody talking about Freaknik, and I'm like, we got some real problems happening here. And like Anjali said on her live stream, you know, it's not sexy to sit and talk about radiation or the effects of it or how it actually impacts you directly. But that's what's going to save your life. That's what's going to help you. That's what's going to do. Try this experiment. Those of you, because I'm not ragging on anybody who's watching Freaknik. Like I said, I have the urge to watch it, but I'm not gonna watch it. But try this little experiment before you watch Freaknik. Check your bank account and write down the amount that's in your bank account. Call your best friend and just ask them, "Are we best friends?" And have them say yes or no. Say, "Okay, check," and then I don't know. Ask your spouse or your significant other or one of your children if they love you, and then check that off, and then watch Freaknik. And after the Freaknik documentary is over, check your checking account and call your best friend back up and ask your loved one or significant other if how they feel about how they still look, and I can guarantee you none of it will have changed at all. What difference does it make to your life? And that's how I feel about most things. I'm like, when we're putting all this time, energy, and effort into something, and then you spend 2 hours of your life, or however long the thing is, if it's a documentary, or if it's a series or what, you spend that much time of your life. And then after it's all said and done, what difference did it make? What difference? But when I tell my children about Fukushima, that doesn't mean that when I tell my children about radiation, that doesn't mean that they're going to stop eating seafood. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean they're going to take any heed to what I'm saying, or my other loved ones or other people I tell about it. But the point still becomes that what I'm telling them is something to help them, that will make a difference in their life, that can make a difference in the life of their family. And so with Freaknik, they say, people, there's a lot of people that's going to be embarrassed that, because they might see their suffering. You know what's going to be embarrassing? When this die-off is happening, and then someone's laying on their deathbed, and they say, how come you didn't effing tell me? Now that's going to be embarrassing. That's going to be hurtful. When this die-off comes, and it's already here. And then your people are like, why didn't you say something? Nobody's going to be able to say that to me. Because I tell people, I don't bang them over the head with it. But when I see, family and they're eating fish, I'm like, well, that might not be the best thing to eat, and tell them why. And or point them to places where they might have some better, some different alternatives. Even I think even eating, there is a vegan, what was it, honey? That vegan fish. I used to eat the crap out of that stuff because I still have I still have a taste for seafood. I just don't eat it. But there's a vegan fish that, it's all crap because it's made in a lab, but it's one of these few things. It tastes like fish, and all things being equal,
is it made with
that's the better thing. It's not made with any kind of seafood,
seaweed,
or seaweed or anything. Those shrimp were, I think, those vegan shrimp, but no, it wasn't tilapia, Cap. It was I can't remember the name of it, but it's
one of the vegan brands.
Right, it's one of the vegan brands, and it's not made with food at all.
It may not be vegan.
Oh, vegetarian, yeah, but it's not made with any kind of meat at all. Angela's washing a dish, so that's what the. No, it's all right. So, anyway, I just said that to say that there's some options are better than nothing. Especially when it comes to radiation. I don't even. I say this, admittedly, I'm not doing all that I know how to do, and I have 2 copies of Furnace of Affliction, which I cannot find either one of them. And that's distressing me. But I have 2 copies of that, and I follow Anjali's work, and let's see, Michi, Melch. See, I can never say this. Dome, I thought fish would kind of be vegetarian, or is it meat? What, are you a pescatarian?
Yeah.
If you eat fish?
It's a living animal. It's an
Right,
animal.
right. Since it's a living animal, then it's still considered meat. The kind of the fish. What?
Yeah, some people use meat to be just red meat and white meat.
Uh-huh.
But if you're a vegetarian, you don't eat fish or chicken or beef or pork.
Right. And if you're a vegan, you don't eat eggs.
Right.
Because that's considered to be meat.
Some honey.
Right.
Well, any animal products.
Right. So yeah, the fish that I'm talking about, and I wish I knew the name of it, because I don't. since I'm not in the States, I don't know where. Brother, I haven't seen it in so long. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But that stuff tasted. That stuff tastes just like fish, and there's no fish in it. And I get that. It gets some. I make some tartar sauce, and we go into town. But I said all of that just to say that there are alternatives to eating things out to sea, and the more that we learn about about the radiation threat, it's kind of like when I became a vegetarian, or when I started doing just different things, and when I lost weight. Yes, tuna is meat, uh, and even when I lost weight, it didn't just happen overnight. It didn't just stop all at once. Um, I just started like getting rid of different things from my diet, but just like Angela has taught me, uh, it's not only about getting rid of different things; it's replacing it with something else or bringing something else in better. Because I used to drink soda all day. When was the last time I had a soda? I think I had a Coke a year ago.
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
it might have been like
We were in
6
the
months
States,
ago or
yeah. Not the
something like
last time
that.
we were in the States, the time before.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been a long time. So
I know.
yeah, getting away from that crap. Don't say I do eat catfish and salmon, but and salmon, but and that's the thing. Nobody can tell grown folk what to do. All we can do is give the best information we can, which is what Ajali does. She just gives the best information that she has to give, and then you weigh things and you do whatever you do whatever is best. Well, how do I say this? Because that's yeah, we do our best to get better, and the saying goes, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
Me, I know everybody isn't me. Like I said earlier, I was a seafood fiend. If it came out if it was they show them TV shows where somebody's fishing and they pull a boot out the water. If you pull a boot out the water, I eat it. If as long as it came out the water, that's how much of a seafood fiend I was. And found out about that rate.
There was a lot of seafood you didn't eat.
Not the only thing I didn't eat was calamari,
Oh.
and that was because I had some one time.
Lobster?
Yeah, I ate lobster.
Lobster, crabs,
Right.
crawfish.
Crawfish.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, but I only had calamari once, and and it tasted good, but I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth for like a week,
Oh.
and that's why I stopped eating that. Don't I cut my meat intake though. I eat a lot of veggies. Stuffed bell peppers is my new thing, and for me, the staples in our home are peppers, onions, and what's the other? I think it's just peppers and onions are like the staples here. We always have some of that, and then yeah, we eat potatoes. There's a lot of
That's your staple.
yeah, that's my staples. Um, Angela's gotten like really fond of making porridge. She was making that like every day for a minute, and porridge is good. And I don't feel like I'm suffering when I eat it. Um, and I'll have like occasional cookies. And I'm talking about like processed cookies or whatever. Sometimes I grab some comfort food. Um, and we just do the best that we can with the knowledge that we have. The important thing is though to get the knowledge. And there's a scripture that said, "Train up a child in the way it should go, or he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." And that just means that you're giving a person a point of reference, so that if they decide that they want to do a thing, then at least they have something to pull from. But if I never told my children about radiation, if I never told my children about Fukushima, if I never told friends or family about it, or whatever, they have no point of reference for if something's coming at them or if something's happening. But all you have to do is sometimes is give a person a point of reference. like the way that I was raised. Um, I was raised to not steal, not to to do this and that and blah blah blah. And I never, well, it's not like I'm some goody two shoes, but I never really went sideways. But there was, I did go askew a few times, but even then, I like bounced back to what I was taught, and it was helpful because, like I said, I had a point of reference to go to with vegetables and stuffed peppers, even hot peppers too. I stuff my bell peppers with black beans, corn, and mixed veggies. That sounds good, though. Yeah, that sounds real good. So I I don't know. I Like I said, when I see different things that I know are distracting our people, um, it distresses me because I have I have a very deep and abiding love for our people, and I have a deep, abiding honor and respect for them. I always put love, honor, and respect on everything. And it's not just a thing that I put. That's how I feel. I think our people are the most brilliant on the planet. We're the most talented on the planet. We're the best of the best. I mean, it just is what it is. But we've been conditioned out of our right minds, and there's there are so many directions at which we're attacked, and I don't know. It's like we fall. I want to say this right. I'm gonna just say it the way it's in my head, and then then I'll clarify what I mean. But it's like we fall for any and everything. And to clarify that, I know that it's not because we're dumb or we're stupid or anything like that. There's a context for everything, and it's just like it's just like when I talk about crabs in a barrel. I I can't stand when I hear our people referred to as crabs in a barrel. We're just like crabs in a barrel, and it's because I I live I live on the beach. I cross the street and walk for about 30 seconds to a minute, and I'm looking at the Atlantic Ocean. On that beach every day, I see crabs. When Angela and I walk down the street, we take a walk every morning, every evening, and I see crabs all the time. And I have never, and I repeat, never seen any crab attack another crab. I've never seen any crab pull on another crab. I've never seen. I just have never seen that. And my point is that if I was to take those same crabs that are minding their own business and throw them into a barrel or a bucket, then they start exhibiting that behavior. And it's because the natural environment for a crab is not a bucket or a barrel. And so we do act certain ways, and we do um, act out different behaviors, but it's not in a vacuum. When we do dumb things, it's not because we're dumb people. When we do stupid things, it's not because we're stupid people. It's because we are in an unnatural circumstance that not of our own making, by the way, and that is constantly reinforced against us. And that's not letting us off the hook. That's not just giving us a pass. That's not, oh, you're just trying to go too easy on. No, 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 no. All I'm trying to say is that there's a context for everything. And I believe in running our people slack because at the end of the day, somebody is going to get some slack. It's either their people or our people. somebody's going to get some slack. When you're holding a rope taut, right, and then you have like all this rope, this slack behind you, you can either start to pull on that rope, or you can loosen that, loosen the rope in the middle and let that get. But somebody is going to get the slack, and somebody's going to get the tightness. And unfortunately, our people seem to give our own people the tightness, which means by default, we're running these white people slack. We're letting them off the hook by keeping our people on the hook. And I refuse to do it. And that doesn't mean that I see us do crazy stuff and commit crimes and all that stuff and just think that, oh, well, that's just because blah, blah, blah. And we should let them off the, you're just trying to be too soft on these criminals or who. No, I'm not. All that I'm saying is there is a context for what we deal with. That's all I'm trying to say. And it would do us well that even when we're coming down on our own people, to remember that there's a reason that we are the way that we are, and it's not our fault. Sure, it has to be dealt with, but deal with it in the context of knowing it's not your fault. Angela and I have a running joke in our home where we say, you need to get some self-esteem. And that's because people say that. They say, oh, that person needs to get some self-esteem, or that person needs to do this, or that person needs to do that. And our question is always, okay, yeah, and how do we do that? How do we do it? What's the step-by-step? How do we do it? How do I get this self-esteem? I just like sit down one day and I'm going to have self-esteem. But all these things are a process. And so we have to learn. And again, I see the things that our people do. I see the things that our people do. And it upsets me a lot of the time. But I always try to keep in mind that there's a context to it. It's not always, it's not totally our fault, if at all. And even Angela and I go around in circles about sometimes, because I'll be wanting to come down and she'll be like, yeah, well, that person didn't create this system, right? And then I'll start going around and around with her against my own argument, but that's where we are. I'm going to read a few of these comments here. Golden Black One says, your novel and What of the Cargo is amazing, and I definitely see the love you have for Black us. I appreciate you allowing me to read it and want to do a review. Well, thank you. And I look forward to your review of it. I want to know what you thought of the way that it ended, but yeah, I look forward to your review and your comments. Golden Black One, if you can, email me and let me know what you thought, because I know you're not going to want to put any spoilers in the review. And then she said, proud of you for getting that in control. I take care of my mom to keep blood pressure and blood sugar control. And that was to Dome that she sent that. Dome, I think I'm starting to hate all those terms that's created. The crab one, to trick Black folk into the crab one to trick Black folk, put it in books. I'm not sure. I think I'm reading this wrong. And black on black crime. Oh my goodness, black on black crime. Lord have mercy. There's no such thing. And I know, Dome. That's what you're saying. There's no such thing. That's a myth. Black on black crime. We are the worst enemies. Hate them all. I always have to expand this. Yeah, I agree with you, Dome. Golden Dome says again. Okay. You're talking to um, Dome. Angela, Gold. Oh, Cargo was good, right? And make sure you share your review with Ayapa and let everybody know. Yeah, let everybody know. So, no, I keep telling people that everyone kills everyone. No such thing as black on. But you're 100% right. Oh, Dome, let me tell you something, dude. Did you know that? Because I was telling, I told you about Sophia Stewart and the fact that she wrote the Matrix and Terminator and so on. Now, this black woman, dude, she's married to a white man, and she made sure she brag about every chance she get. When I saw that, I was like, no, 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 and that messed up my day. But anyway, after I saw that, I was like, it's just a big, womp womp. Why did they do it? Why? Anyway, Golden Black one. Will do. You talking to my wife, Mister Pirate Brain? Where can I find your book, and what's the title? Um, Mr. Pirate Brain, they're on Amazon. And Angela, would you put the links in? Both of them, and What of the Cargo and Melanin are on there. And there's also a series of short stories on there. This what's called the Keeping of the Buck series. Each of the stories is $1 a piece, and they're short. They're quick reads. The shortest one, I think, is like 16 pages. It's either 8 or 16 pages. And it's actually the story that inspired the book and What of the Cargo. And it's called an oral history of forgotten cargo. And the longest one, I think, is called Shadow House. Shadow House is my personal favorite, and coming in at a close second is called Sundown Town. And people who have read Sundown Town um, love that story, and they really like the end of it. So Sundown Town is good, and each of those stories is $1, and that's why they're called the Keeping of the Buck series. I'm going to be putting those together into. I didn't get on here to make a commercial for my thing, but the Keeping of the Buck series, all those stories are going to be put into a single book that's called Paradigm Void, and in Paradigm Void will have all 10 of those stories, in addition to one never before read or published story. So there's that. What else is going on? Oh, for anyone who has gone to my website, or uh, Angela, if you would put my a link to my site in there. If you go there, you can register for my newsletter. The newsletter is free. There goes Info Man, Information Man Show. Peace to you, brother. Always an honor to see you, and you're doing great things. I appreciate you. So you can go to my site and register for my newsletter. The newsletter is free, and it has also gives you access to all the back issues. All the back issues are free, and you also get, as a thank you for registering for the newsletter, you get a, a free copy of my short story Moanissus the Oak Tree, and that is I need to put the reviews that people give me for that, because people love that story too. I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing for our people. I love our people. I I love our people. I love our people. And yeah, I'm black mixed with black. You cut me open, and I'm black, black, like blackity black. And I didn't comment on Psycho's live stream this morning, but he was on point. I was working and doing different stuff, but I was listening in. And yeah, yeah, I'm pro black, and he was on point this morning. So anyway, info. Sometime we gotta catch up. I've released my second novel. It's called "And What of the Cargo," and I'd like to I'd like to get on your platform and talk about it when we can. And I know that you have your rosters stay pretty full, and that's a beautiful thing. So, but when we can, and so that's it. Let's see. Let's see. Michi's saying, "I can't believe she sold out. I promoted that sister." Me too. I'm the one that I know. I'm the one that told you about her, and then I found that mess out. And evidently, they've been married long time. And so I'm like, man, really? When I looked at that, and it's funny. I didn't already know that because of I was aware of Sophia Stewart for years and years, and I just never bothered to really look up who she was married to. And then I looked up and saw that guy. I was like, oh, wait a minute, what? Anyway, anyway. So I'm kind of off topic. I guess my whole thing is, like I said, when it comes to um, when it comes to what Freaknik, dude, I understand. I understand wanting to be entertained. I like being entertained. Um, Shoot, I got the Batman. I'm finally gonna watch that. I haven't watched it yet. As a matter of fact, there's like several movies. There's a few Marvel movies that I have in my queue, like downloaded into my iTunes or whatever. Um, and I'm gonna get around to watching those. Everybody likes entertainment. Everybody likes to be entertained. I like to be entertained. I watched Don't Look Up last week. So I'm not like, oh, don't be watching Freaknik. You don't need to be watching Freak. Number one, I can't tell grown folk what to do. It's not my place anyway. Who am I? All I'm trying to say is that even as we partake in these things, even as we watch it or whatever, just keeping in mind that there's bigger issues for our people to deal with. There's there are pressing issues that our people have to deal with, and first and foremost, whether you believe it or not, is that radiation issue is first and foremost what we got to deal with. Now, I don't. We can't clean it up. We can't stop it. We can't go. We can't go to Fukushima and stop that radiation from spewing out because people who have the machinery and stuff to do it, uh, it can't do it. They can't stop it because it's so radioactive, and it's been spewing for 10 years. And I wrote this thing to Ajali talking about the movie Spider-Man 2. If you go to her latest video, uh, first watch that video uh, because she pours her heart out because she loves our people. And then when you read my comment, just read it and think about, think about it. Think about what I said. Because you might say, what in the world Spider-Man 2 got to do with Fukushima? Well, I tie them together uh, through tritium. So anyway, nothing wrong with entertainment. Everybody loves to be entertained. I like to be entertained. You can't be stressed out 24/7. You got to relax sometime. But just remembering that there are far, far bigger fish to fry. Um, number one on number one in the skillet is Fukushima the radiation and what we can do to chelate it out of our bodies and to protect ourselves and our families from it. And even Sister Ajali is making is made soaps and is making soaps that you can use that will help you with that. I mean, she has a deep and abiding love for our people, and she shows it constantly in everything that she does. I think that my wife and I show it in everything that we do. And the fact that I'm not going to say nobody listens to us, but the fact that we have like this uphill climb, not just me and Angela and Sister Ajali, many of our people who are really about it have like this uphill push, but that's not going to make anything stop. It's not going to make any of us stop because our love for our people is very active. It's not passive at all, and it's not a scam. It's not a fraud. We're about what we say. We're about what we say. And Golden Black one, yeah, I saw that. I saw that about Billy Porter playing. Yes, the great James Baldwin. Now, admittedly, I feel James Baldwin is problematic. But that said, I feel that he was one of the most brilliant voices of our people, um, of our time. The man was brilliant. No matter what you want to say about him, man was brilliant, but he was problematic, and I have to. Um, for me personally, I call it the James Baldwin problem. For me, it's like, Brett. Now, what do I do with this? Because the man was on point. He was on point with his observations. He was on point with the things that he said. But peace to you, beautiful Bernice, coming in looking beautiful. And so, but yeah, yeah. But man, I yeah, I don't, I yeah, Cap. I also don't like the idea of Porter playing that role. Um, but what you gonna do, and that's why I write. That's why Ajali writes. That's why Angela writes. That's why the writers in our circle and in our writers group and the other writers I know. That's why we write, is because we're working hard to take control. Excuse me, that's a truck. I already told you all this traffic goes by. To get control of our own narrative, to take back control of our narrative. Because at the end of the day, what has really happened and is continuing to happen is that the people who hate us and people who want to destroy us and people who want to marginalize us and people who want to breathe us out are the ones who are controlling our narrative. And so we got to, like I said, that's why Angela writes, that's why Ajali writes, that's why I write, and that's why the people in my circle are writers and creators who love Black us. Excuse me, and that's just how it is. Let's see, Mr. Pirate Brain, they could have got the Black actor from Fear the Walking Dead to play James Baldwin. I'm not familiar with him because I haven't seen the series. But yeah, shoot, if they got freaking Daffy Duck, the reason I said said Daffy Duck instead of Donald Duck is because Daffy's a brother. So, but hey, I'd rather see freaking Daffy Duck play him than freaking James Baldwin. Than James Baldwin, brother. I got James Baldwin on right now. It's Billy Porter. But what? Again, what you're gonna do when they're controlling the narrative. So I did want to plug this. I presently have another podcast. Now I have another podcast that's called Reading and Writing in the Dark, and that one is dedicated to my writing is dedicated to Black reading is dedicated to Black writers. I talk mostly about my own work on that platform, and it's on YouTube. And you can also find it on, well, you can link to it in my site, ayapoyapa.com, and that's where you'll find Reading and Writing in the Dark, the podcast, in addition to being able to sign up for the newsletter. But I'm also in the works putting together another podcast that's called The Ball. And The Ball is going to be co-hosted by a fellow author, a friend of mine, a pro-black author friend of mine, Verdette and Wilkins. I don't, Verdette, if you're listening, don't get mad at me that I tripped over your name. Verdette Wilkins. And if you go on YouTube and type in The Ball, or I might actually just give you a link to it so that you can go straight to it, because I don't know if you can get there by typing it in. But that that podcast will be coming very, very soon. And what we'll be talking about on The Ball is basically what I got on here to talk about. The premise of the podcast is keeping your eye on the ball. In other words, there's so many distractions all around us. Distractions. And our people have really got to learn to start keeping our eye on the ball. So what we'll be talking about is, I might start off by saying something like, well, this week, because we're going to try to do it weekly or bi-weekly. I'll be like, this week, while we were talking about just pearly things, this is what was happening. This is what law passed, or this is what right you lost, or this is what radioactive thing happened. While we were talking about this foolishness that doesn't even really affect us, right? And so that's the premise of the podcast, The Ball. So that's going to be coming within the next month to 2 months. I still have to work out with Verdette, just how we're putting it together, and I'm still like putting the music together and the opening and all that different stuff. But I promise you some good, relevant discussions about what's happening with our people. And it's all about keeping your eye on the ball. And as a matter of fact, if you give me just a second of silence, I'm going to see if I can find the link, and I'll send it to you. Okay. Well, I don't see it. I don't know why I have such a hard time finding that. And I type in exactly what it is. Let's see if I type in Verdette. If I can find that. And that still doesn't bring me to it. So I'll have to find, because it doesn't have any subscribe. I think it has one subscriber right now, and that's because that subscriber is me. I'm gonna try one more thing, see if I can find this. And my apologies for what's this? Okay. My apologies for the lag. Let's see. That's it. I'm still with you. Talk among yourselves. Here we go. Okay, there it is. All right. This is okay. The link that I just put in there is to the ball. And if you would, when you get a chance, be there and go there and subscribe. And I'm one of these people. I'm not trying to like get some big subscriber base and all that. So I do, yeah, I do want to be heard, and I do want to be read, but it's not about having a whole bunch of subscribers, for me, or to try to look like some kind of a big shot. No, no, no. It's about it's about our people and doing the very best for our people that I can. And so, and I want to thank my beautiful wife. She's sitting there and she's just putting stuff in. I see you putting all this stuff in. She is really a help, and I love it. So anyway, I guess that's about it. I didn't really come on to stay on long. I just know that I kind of had to get this off my chest, uh, because it's like that I every place I look, every place I go on social media, they're talking about this upcoming, this Freaknik documentary, and there's just so many reasons that I don't like what's happening. Not the least of which is, like I said at the very beginning, Disney owns Hulu, and so black folk, Disney is no, like I said at the beginning, Disney is no friend of black folk, but yet they always are maneuvering us into putting money in their pockets. Thank you, Mr. Pirate Brain. Always maneuvering us into putting money into their pockets, that we could put someplace else, and not only money but our time, and our time is precious. We can't get that back, and while we're doing this, we could be doing something else. So, uh, Caps, a good thing that y'all are no longer in Babylon because it's imploding. Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. It's ugly, and it's scary to watch. Well, I won't say scary. It's sad to watch. It's sad to watch. Um, but at the same time, I'm encouraged by the number of our people who are waking up, and that's a beautiful thing to see. So I'm going to cut this off because, like I said, I wasn't trying to be on here a long time anyway. But I want to thank everybody who's in the chat. Beautiful Bernice, Dome, always. I got to, when I get a chance, Dome, I'm gonna have to try to go on another one of your live streams. That night that we was on, that night that we was on there, like it was like several hours. It was like late at night. Um, and I know it was late because because I know it was late where you were because it was late here, and that was just such a good conversation, and there was so much trivia involved. And thank you, Golden Blackwood. And there's just so much trivia involved, but that was good. And I'm looking forward to like chopped it up again with you when I get a chance. But I spend I know this might sound like I'm just blowing air, but I spend a lot of my time writing and drawing and creating this content. So, and yet I design all my covers, and I did do the illustration for the children's book, and I'm doing illustrations for another book that I'm working on. That's one of my books, and I'm really looking forward to putting this out. And I'll talk more about that later. This I'm looking at like 2 to 3 weeks before that one's finished. But anyway, that's why I don't go on social media quite as much, is because I spend a lot of time writing, and I spend a lot of time drawing, and when I am on live streams like Info Man, a lot of times I'm like just sitting in your stream, just trolling the crap out of you because I'll just be sitting there watching, and I may say something just so you know I'm there. But the rest of the time, I'm sitting there and I'm working while I'm listening. So I do everything that I can to support you. That's why I tell. That's why I'm not, constantly telling Angela. I'm like, I'm always going to support Information Man. And by the way, Melche, I hope I'm saying this right. Dome has a channel. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe to his channel, Information Man Show. If you got to know he has a channel. If you don't, he does. Subscribe to his channel. Cap has a channel. I think everybody in here has a channel. Beautiful Bernice, do you have a channel? If you do, then well, I'll check to see if you have one. And if Beautiful Bernice has a channel, then subscribe to her channel. Angela has a channel. Hers is Be Fabulous You. As some of you may or may not know, Angela and I met on YouTube, and we got married on YouTube. It was a reality show all the way around, like. But that was one of the most beautiful things that has ever happened to me. You're in there laughing at me. That's one of the most beautiful things that happened to me. So I can't come down too hard on YouTube because I'd have never met Angela if it weren't for that. But anyway, if y'all want to watch us get married, you can go on YouTube and watch. I can't remember the exact. It's in there somewhere. It's the video on IYAPO Yap. It's called Black Love. That's us getting married. And I think Angela has like the first one. Do you have the first one where we met? Where I was talking to you on your thing? I can't remember. It's up there because you didn't take any of them down. I just have to go through them. You don't have it anymore? Oh, you don't know what it is. Okay. Yeah. One day I may actually go through it. and anyway, a peace to you. Like I said, Cap has a channel. Info Man has a channel. Dome has a channel. Angela has a channel. Let me see who else is in here. Golden Black One. Doug. Golden Black One has a channel. Please subscribe. And if Beautiful Bernice has a channel, subscribe. Mr. Pirate Brain definitely has a channel, and he is a musician. So and he has good music. I'm always telling you, I haven't been able to catch any of your newer music. There's one time you linked me to it, and they didn't. I didn't see the new music there. I think I've listened to like everything that you have. So if you have something new, by all means, please link me to it, because I periodically go to your channel to see if you have put something up that I haven't heard. And so by the way, speaking of music, on my website, it not only has my writing, but it has a section at the bottom where you can see my cartooning. Because I was a cartoonist before I was a writer. I did that, pretty much my adult life was the cartooning. So my cartoons are on there, and my music is on there. Now my music, some people like it, some people don't. It is what it is. I guess that's true of anybody's music. I like my music, and I like to write it. I like to play the instruments. I play keyboard, guitar. And my favorite thing to play is the harmonica. But so when you go to my site, there's just a whole lot of stuff on there to find. There's a lot of layers to it. Angela sometimes thinks it's too deep, and not deep as in philosophical deep. It just has so many moving parts to it and so many places you can go on there. But I hope I made it intuitive enough that you can find stuff when you go around in there. So that's about it. That is so cool. That's and sweet Y'all met on YouTube. Yeah, black people need to love and meet one another. Oh, there was a time when I remember when I first got on YouTube when it would be like Dome would be up here. Um, Definitely Info Man, Ajali, of course, and oh, brother, who? Oh, come on! Oh, the real Aaron Collins. We be up on here cutting up, and I don't mean in a bad way. We get on like a live and some different live, and there was there was like this in that time. There was like this respect and this camaraderie that is gone now. And I think what happened was people saw that they could make a few bucks, or it became money for people, and all these stupid beefs started happening, and all the beefs are so counterproductive. They're so counterproductive, and I miss that time. I miss that time when we could go on there and we just be having all kinds of fun. It was like a party. You could go and get your own, go to your refrigerator and get your own stuff, and you just sitting on there having a party for hours, and I miss it. I miss it now. Half of these panels, I wouldn't go on them with a whip and a chair. So it's they're crazy about a bunch of beef, and people have these these short fuses and agendas and worried about their brand. And I came up with this, and I'm going to say that it's mine. I'm not a brand. I'm a man. I'm not a brand. I'm a Yapo. I get what people are saying about, this is my brand. I'm not a brand. I'm a man. I don't care about a freaking brand. I don't. I'm more about love, honor, and respect, and I'm more about connection and camaraderie. And I wish with all my heart we could get back to that. And I will admit that some of this stuff is happening like it has by design, that's outside of our control, because they want us separated. And that goes back to what I said at the near the beginning of the live stream, excuse me, at the beginning of the live stream, is that I'm getting to where I'm not so much disturbed by the fact that these things are done to us, as much as it is how easily we fall into the traps, how easy it is to fool us, how easy it is to get us to be at each other's throat. What in the world? What in the world? Do our people do need to study more history and understand what's going on? COINTELPRO takes all kinds of different forms, but the philosophy of it is always the same. You see a bunch of people who are on the same sheet of music, or you see a bunch of black people that are getting along, and the end goal, however they choose to do it, is to insert something in it that they start sowing all this discord, whether it's beef or or fake wars. Speaking of diaspora wars, or speaking of gender wars, or whatever, you insert all this crap, or you just insert money. That's one of the easiest ones. You just insert money, and then all of a sudden, all this camaraderie, all of a sudden, all this togetherness, this unity just breaks apart. And and it's distressing how easily it works. It's distressing how easily it works. And Dome, we and Info Man, we've been riding for together for a long time. You know what I'm talking about. You remember those days. I know you remember those days. They were they were so awesome. And then and that was a time when people were shouting each other out on channels. Like Infoman is always shouting people out. What does it prove when someone is always shouting people out? And Dome does the same thing. When you're shouting someone out, that means that you're confident enough to know that you have your lane and nobody is a threat to you. And you're not a victim of zero sum thinking. Whereas the Infoman and Dome aren't sitting there thinking like, um, aren't sitting there thinking like, well, if I shout them out, then they might get, they might start getting some of my subscribers, or they might start getting more subscribers. Or, you know, dude, number one, all that stuff is a facade anyway. But number two, there's a zero sum is is an illusion that was created by the white man. There's plenty there's more than enough for everybody. There's much. That's why I'm constantly shouting people out. When you look at my newsletter, and you really should register for my newsletter and read it. It's free. It's free. My channel isn't monetized. My freaking podcasts and stuff are not monetized. My my newsletters and stuff aren't monetized. Go and read the stuff. But when you read it, you're gonna see. And I've had several people point this out. They're like, you're one of the few people I know that are constantly promoting other people, even over your own stuff. You're constantly promoting other people. And that's because I don't believe in zero sum. I do not believe in zero sum. I know, not I think, I know that there's enough for everybody. There's more than enough for everybody. I'm not worried about somebody getting ahead of me, because if someone gets ahead of me, that just means that I'm able to move up too. You see? That means I'm able to move up too. So, like I said, when it comes to Dome, when it comes to Infoman, when it comes to Golden Black One, Peace Naps TV, I'm just now seeing there. Peace to you. And these are content creators who are constantly big upping other people. Yeah, they advertise their own stuff. Yeah, duh, you're supposed to. But at the same time, they're constantly trying to raise somebody else up too. So they're constantly making someone else aware of someone that they may have not have heard of. And like I said, that shows a confidence that person has. That shows a lack of small-mindedness. That shows a lack of jealousy. That shows a desire to truly see our people progress and move upward and outward. One of the models and components of Infoman's show is that he's constantly promoting other people. That is a feature of his show. That is a feature of his content. He has content that is not monetized. He has content that tells you how to. He has content that tells you how to produce, how to produce your content, how to make your content look professional, how to make your content look clean, the best equipment to get, at within your price range or within your budget. He's like telling you how to do it. Now you get other people who be like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna give away my secrets because then they might not." That's not the way to do it for our people. That's not how we're gonna get ahead. That is not how we're going to get ahead. We're going to get ahead by doing what Info does, by doing what Angela does, that's my wife, by doing what I do, by doing what Golden Black One does, by doing what Dome does. And talking about other people, moving other people forward even as we move ourselves forward and upward. And that's like deep in my heart. Like I said, when it comes to Ajali, she's always she promotes her stuff, but she's always promoting others. She's always shouting out someone else. She's always and she's always trying to do the very, very best for our people. If you aren't subscribed to Sister Ajali's channel, please subscribe to it. The Radical Sister. It it hurt me. I mean, it honestly hurt me when they took all her channels down. She had on her main channel, she had 22. Is there 22 or 24? But I think it was 24,000 subscribers. 24,000 subscribers. And they pull her down, and now she has less subscribers than I do. And that takes some doing. You almost have to have less subscribers to me than me. You almost have to do it on purpose. I've been on YouTube. I'm being a little facetious, but I I've been on YouTube like over 5 years and still have not hit 1,000 subscribers. But I know that my channel is heavily suppressed and shadow banned. I've it's not like I suspect it. I see them actually doing it, and it was very interesting. It's interesting to watch. But yeah, they suppressed my channel pretty hard. But then they took Sister Ajali's channel away from her, and now she has less subscribers than I do, under 1,000, under 800, because I'm under 800, and not 800. I'm under 800, 850. That was, what, that's what Naps TV, that's what everybody thought at first. That's what she thought at first. That's what everybody else thought at first. But uh, as we look at it, we we've pretty much come to the conclusion. When I say we, I mean she has, and others have come to the conclusion that it didn't have anything to do with that, as much as it was that she's constantly uh, ringing or sounding the alarm about Fukushima and the radiation issue, and that she had a huge, relatively speaking, to me, it's a huge platform. If you look at some other platforms out there where there's like 1 million subscribers, 5 million subscribers, yeah, it's still small, but relative to me, she had a huge platform, in excess of 20,000, and so at first we thought it was because she did that dance, but there were a lot of people who did a lot more, as it pertained to the Queen's death. So yeah, we definitely surmised that it's because of her message about Fukushima and the radiation and the nuclear industry, because she pushes hard for that, and she was gaining traction. So the thing with the Queen's death might have been a convenient excuse for taking it down, or it could have been the thing where, like I often am saying to my wife, where I've done this twice in my life, where I slammed my hand down on a table and all the lights in the neighborhood went off as soon as I did it. It would look like the reason all the lights went off was because I slammed my hand down on the table, but no, it was it just looked that way. So that's the thing with the Queen's death. Gold and Black, when Sister Ajali is such a monumental figure in Black YouTube history, and they took all her stuff down, right? Every single one of her channels. I've never seen anything like that. And she had like 4 different channels, and they took them all down. They took them all down. It, before or since, I've never seen anything like that. And by the way, as a side note, um, uh, I don't know if Lashid is listening, if she's gonna be listening. I just want to let you know I miss you, sister. I don't know where she is or what she's doing. I haven't seen her up here on these YouTube streets for a minute. And my prayers are that everything's well with you. Um, I'm gonna send you an email, and been meaning to send one, but I get a little bit concerned when I see people, especially people I know love Black Us, and I don't see them or hear from them in a minute. Just just to check in. Beautiful Bernice. I really didn't care about her. Me either. Me either. Man, don't even send me there. But yeah, But like I said, there's some people who really about it. Um, Info Man, me and Info Man been riding for the longest. I remember when his show was first starting out, and it, he's always having to listen to me gush on about this one that he did. And this was early when he first started out, and he did a expose of what was happening in Detroit, where people, where homeowners, black homeowners, were having their homes purchased right out from under them while they were still living in it, didn't even know that they had been bought until the people came to their door and let them know, hey, I bought your house. You have X amount of days to get out, or you can start paying me rent. And these were houses that these people owned. And that was he's done a bunch of excellent ones since then, but that's the one that stayed with me. I like mention it to him, not every single time that we talk on the phone, but I'm often just telling him about what impact that particular episode had on me, and that was like 5 years ago when he first started doing it. So, and his platform has grown so much since then, and I'm proud to see it. I'm proud to call him friend, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to see it, and I'm happy to see a channel grow that is actually for Black people, because there's a lot of them that are, like I said, just a bunch of charlatans or whatever, and they they aren't really for our people, and I don't care for their growth at all. But those who love us, I love seeing that growth. And frankly, with the exception of Infoman, I can't think of any other Black platform that I go to that has, I want to say, over 2,000 subscribers, maybe less. I tend to go to the smaller I tend to go to the smaller channels, and it's because I know that they're not bought, and they're they're they, everybody everybody wants to be heard. Everybody, I wish I had 10,000 subscribers. I wish I had 1,000,000 subscribers. Everybody wants their message to be heard, but if my message has to be heard at the cost of me not being able to look myself in the mirror in the morning, then I'm good. I'll just keep my under 900 subscribers, my 874 that constantly drops and picks up a couple and drops. I'll gladly just stay with that, because I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you that are here right now. You know, thank you, because you're giving me your time, and you can't get your time back. So it's an honor to even have you doing that, because that that's one of the biggest gifts and shows of respect that you can give to a person. It's just the fact that you're willing to give them some of your time, and I thank you. I thank you all for it. So I guess that's about it. Unless somebody got something to say, if anybody wants to come up and get on a panel and say a few words, let me know, and I'll open it up. As a matter of fact, I'll put the link in here, and if you want to come up and say something, you're more than welcome. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. I might not be able to remember how to do this. That shows you how much I come up on here. Let's see, invite, copy. Okay, so let me throw this in here. Paste. Okay, I think that's it. If anybody wants to come up in here for a few minutes, I genuinely didn't come on here to stay on here this long, because I'm usually writing. I'm working on a couple things. I have Tales of the Monkey's Paw that's coming out next month, and if anyone's familiar with the story of the Monkey's Paw, then it's also in the Keeping It a Buck series, because there'll be short stories that are $1 a piece, and they and those stories. I see Mr. Pirate Brain. I'll let you in just a second, and those are stories of horror and suspense. So there you go. And let me see if I need to turn this down. Make sure I'm not feeding back.
How you doing, brother?
I think I'm good. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been a while, man. Last year was very interesting for me. I wound up in the hospital with another heart attack.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How are you now?
I'm doing better.
Good.
You know,
you sound good.
Yeah. I'm trying to eat better. I left the seafood alone, but the thing about it is there's so many things that have the radiation, and if they don't have the radiation, they have the poisons in them that they purposely put in them. So it's unless you grow in your own, it's hard to get away from it.
Right. That's absolutely true. I will say this though, and this is one of the hopes that I hold on to is the fact that the body, and this is just a fact, the body is always trying to heal itself. It's always working to heal itself.
Right, exactly.
And so so we just have to give it we have to give it the tools it needs to heal it, to heal. And the truth of it is the best we can do is the best we can do.
And another thing that we can do that we don't talk about as much is intermittent fasting and just regular fasting, because the less you eat, the more your body has time to heal, because it takes a lot of energy to digest food.
Right.
It takes a lot of energy. So if you're going to do intermittent fasting, you have to make sure what you eat is the best it can be.
Right. I agree.
That's the thing. I'm not trying to push that on anybody, but I just realized when I go a day or two without eating, I feel so much better.
Yeah, that's good. And now, me, when I did intermittent fasting, I wouldn't do like the day on day off. Mine was I would go all day until like 6 o'clock and then eat. And then
exactly, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And here's another thing that people don't know. We've been taught the wrong way to eat, because they tell you, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and you shouldn't pass 6 because it's bad for your body. Really, you should, if you're going to do intermittent fasting, when you wake up, you shouldn't eat, and you should just let your body burn off all of the glucose and stuff in your body during the day from moving around. And at night, if you eat, a couple hours before you go to bed, while your body's resting, you're digesting food. You know, and a lot of people don't realize that. I'm not saying you got to eat right before you go to bed, but there's nothing wrong with eating at 7 o'clock at night. You know.
You know, I agree. You know, something else I found to be very valuable was because I used to have trouble sleeping, and one night while I was up because I couldn't sleep, I was listening to these two guys, and they were white guys, but they were talking about how to reset your body, and I shouldn't have had to have somebody tell me this. Common sense should have told me this. But what they said is, first thing in the morning, you get up, and wherever you are, and as you can, you get out into the sun. You know, you go out, and it resets your body, and then it'll make it so that at night you sleep. And the first time I did it, it didn't take me 5 and 6 times and all this stuff. And dude, I was like taking stuff like ZQL and melatonin and all this stuff because I would have so much trouble sleeping. The first time that I got up with the sun and went out in the sun, I would after that I was just like sleeping like a baby ever since.
That has helped me too. Yeah, I've kind of been in the house, you know, because I'm being on disability and having to deal with health issues. I was staying in the house more, not realizing that was actually terrible for me.
Right.
You know, you need the sun.
And that's the thing. There's a lot of things that we don't see. And again, I'm kind of telling on myself with this one, but there's a lot of things that we don't see, that we don't understand are actually good for us and things that we need to do. And we seldom talk about this because we'll talk about eating better. We'll talk about de-stressing. We'll talk about drinking more water and everything. But I seldom hear people talk about you need to get enough sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's very important.
Yeah, the time that you're spending sleeping, your body's repairing itself. And and I was always one that I didn't like to sleep. You know, even now I'll still try to fight it off sometimes because I'll be trying to be up writing or doing it. But you have to get some sleep. And people who sleep longer, live longer, you have less stress on your body, you have less stress on your organs, and so on, and your body's building up while you're doing that. So
also a lot of people go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
A lot of people don't realize how important the sun is, especially for Black people, melanated people, because we process the sun different from those other folks, right?
Right.
And the sun gives you vitamin D, and I think I heard actually some white actresses said they don't take baths, which I think is kind of funky, but I think they set it out of context. I mean, if you are going to go out for a walk in the sun, if you want to take a bath, you should do it before you go out for the walk, right? And then when you go out for the walk, if you don't have a shirt or you have a tank top and shorts, you get all of that sun, but you got to leave it on your body for a few hours because the vitamin D is on your skin.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't realize that. And if you go out walking and you come right back in and get in the shower, you've just washed off all the vitamin D.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had a doctor tell me about that. And, you know, I didn't give it much thought at the time. But later, and I'm not advocating for not taking baths. I'm just saying when you take the bath. You know, you can take one at night.
Hold on just a second. My screen's trying to go out. My screen's trying to go out on me. So if it goes out, I won't be able to see anything. So I'm just letting y'all know that I can't. Yeah, that I'm on here blind on screen. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. Maybe it's seen this last days.
Oh
But yeah,
wow.
so yeah, it has dimmed out, but I can still see it. But let me try something. I'm getting ready to give me just a second. I'm gonna turn this
Okay.
screen on. If I turn it back on, okay, hopefully it does. I'll turn it off and then it says, okay, yeah, I ain't coming back on.
I wanted to ask you one thing before you go.
Check. Oh, it's still dark. I think the screen's finally going.
Hmm.
Oh well, brother, it's too bad I ain't rich like Info Man.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you though, did you move to Africa?
No, we're
Oh,
we're
okay.
we're Central America.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Yeah, I used
so,
to live down in Argentina for a while.
oh, nice. Did you like it?
I loved it. I kicked myself for coming back. And a lot of people, I mean, it was the first time I felt some level of freedom in my life. I mean,
Right,
I was able to do music and television and stuff at a higher level, but I came back because I miss, my folks and all.
right,
And it just was the worst move I ever made. And people ask me, well, why don't you go back? Well, it's just not the same anymore. You know,
right,
those Latin American countries, they change in 2 or 3 years, they're different,
right.
you know.
Yeah, a lot happens, and a lot changes with the states. A lot changes with the world in general, and it's just rough. Shoot,
Yeah, and if you're living down there, you can change as it changes. But if you come back here and try to go back, your mind is still thinking it's like it was when you left.
right, and
You know.
it ain't gonna be that. But
Yeah.
Mr. Pirate Brain, I'm gonna have to get off here because this is getting ready to go black on me.
Okay, it was great. It was great talking to you. Thanks for having me on, and I just wanted to give you your props, man.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for coming in, and and for listening and for coming up on the panel. It's always all good. It's good to hear your voice. And I hope that every day you just getting stronger and stronger.
Thank you, and tell your wife I said hi.
Oh, I sure will. I think she can. I think she can hear you. She's in the other room.
Oh, okay. All
But
right. Well, take care of yourself.
okay, you do the same.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. And with that, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close this stream down. Thank you, everybody that came to the stream and listen. Thank you for your time. This probably ran like an hour longer than I had planned for it to. But just thank you, and I guess that's about it. All the links are what, honey? Did you say something? Oh, okay. And okay, so I'm gonna go on and shut it down before my screen goes totally black and I won't be able to see what to do. So thank you so much. Love, honor, and respect to all of you. And you have all my links. And thank you for because I could keep thanking you for different stuff over and over again. So I will talk to you soon and maybe with a new screen. Talk to you later.